Well, jury selection is now on hold in what will eventually become one of Minnesota's highest profile trials ever. Hundreds of people gathered in Minneapolis today as an appeals court considered whether to reinstate a third-degree murder charge against Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis cop charged in the death of George Floyd. I'm joined now by criminal defense attorney Brian Watkins to explain exactly what is happening here behind closed doors. In layman's terms, can you kind of break down today why jury selection didn't happen today as expected?
Well, the situation is that the appellate court has ruled that the trial court erred in one way and one way only, not in kicking out the third-degree murder charge, but they erred in the way that they kicked out the murder charge. So basically what the appellate court said is, I need you to reconsider whether or not there could be a third-degree murder charge based on the elements and the law that we've instructed you. The trial court erred in not using precedent. Now they're saying to go back and reevaluate that decision, but use precedent. And so the decision can still come out where he still does kick the third-degree murder charge. That's not finalized yet. And that's what the lawyers are preparing additional arguments to re-argue that issue. And that's what's going to delay the trial.
I think we're talking about here. When will we get back to the set schedule in this?
I don't know. You know, it's the funny thing about it is the prosecution is the one that wants to continue to delay the trial. The defense has been ready to go and says, hey, I want my day in court. Normally, it's the other way around. The prosecution's like, let's go. We have our evidence. We want to try the case. And the defense is like, oh, wait, slow down. But here we have it reversed. And that's very peculiar. I don't know why the prosecution's not ready to go forward. But so for some reason, they keep asking for a delay.
As a non-lawyer, let me kind of pose a question from the outside looking in. We've all seen the video. We see the officer's knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 9 minutes there in the street. You're a criminal defense attorney. Where would your mind be if you were Officer Chauvin's lawyer in terms of fighting back what seems to be so obvious on video that the country and the world have seen?
Well, I hope they're not watching this program right now, but the way to win this case is, and this is just between me and you, the knee didn't kill him. You got to make it a case of science. You'll never be able to justify his actions of putting the knee on the neck. So don't even go there and try to justify it. Go there and say, yeah, that was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. But the bottom line here is science has proven that it did not kill him. He did not die from asphyxiation. And that's where I would make this a battle of the experts. And I know everyone's emotional, but the bottom line here is if you can prove that the knee on the neck was not the primary cause of his death, he walks.
Wow. So you'd believe a full acquittal here is possible. I know anything's possible once it's in the hands of a jury, and certainly anything can happen at trial. But do you think perhaps we should brace for a full acquittal?
Yes, that is a possibility. Because like I said, I don't think everyone is saying, yeah, the knee on the neck, and we all see it. And how can you say he didn't do it? You know, if the defense approaches this appropriately and says, yeah, he did it, he put the knee on the neck. But the bottom line here is, I don't know if there's enough medical evidence to substantiate that the knee on the neck was the cause of death. He did not die of asphyxiation. That's the point. And everyone thinks that he did. They say he couldn't breathe. But the truth of the matter is, if you can talk, you are getting enough oxygen, and he did not die from a lack of oxygen. That is the issue.
So interesting. I think one point that's gotten a little bit lost in some of the coverage of all this is that there was confirmed reporting that Officer Chauvin was ready to plead guilty to a murder charge in this case some time ago. At the time, Bill Barr was the Attorney General of the U.S. He stepped into the case, unraveled the deal, and now here we are on the eve of trial that will get started at some point. I'm trying to understand in non-lawyerese what the motivation may have been to intervene in the case, and can the fact that the officer was ready to plead guilty, can that be used against him as the trial now starts?
The answer to your last question is no. It can't be used against him. Any sort of settlement talks or anything like that cannot be used against him in court. You got to understand, 98% of all cases, criminal and civil, settle. Most people do not want to put their hands in the fate of a jury. And that's why if you can get a favorable outcome where you guarantee no or less or no prison, then a lot of people plead guilty to things that they have said, oh, I didn't do. So they make business decisions, and that's common in our court systems. Now, why they wanted to unravel the deal, I don't know. The problem is that this case has so much publicity, and it sparked so much outrage across the world. So all eyes are on it. So the politicians and the lawyers are getting intertwined, and they're in bed together. And so, they want to see a conviction, and the internet wants to see a conviction, and there's a lot of other factors here that are playing a role in this trial.
Well said. Thank you so much, Brian. I know we're going to be leaning on you heavily as things get underway in this trial. Appreciate your time and your expertise and your insight. Thanks so much for being with us once again.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.